Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. We've got some projects going on the farm, getting ready to process our first fall batch of chickens this year, and still picking plenty of vegetables.
Oh yeah, for $10,000.
Some broccolini, late planted cabbage, and spinach that's going to overwinter. We found this year we much prefer transplanting spinach, even though it's a bit more labor. And this timing, planting in late September, we're getting a nice harvest or two before the deep cold, and we'll probably get another harvest or two during the winter. So love spinach as a winter crop. Just a quick update on my peach strip I've got going here. If you remember from an earlier video, I had just tilled this initially and described the plan to plant peaches and pawpaws in this strip opposite the access road from our east gardens. Planted a cover crop of crimson clover and broadleaf mustard that came up pretty nicely, and just continuing to demonstrate what I think is an ideal setup with the simple tools that we have to establish trees. This is a small scaled down version of what we did in our initial big agroforestry planting, but just taking it step by step through the seasons between initial, very first flagging, measuring, and tilling, all the way to tree planting and mulching. So this is the step that we're at. Brooder is all cleaned down. We set up these walls so that they're easily removable as one piece, and we can just pull the tractor straight up with the bucket and shovel into there, making a pile to integrate into our on-farm compost. But getting this cleaned down for the winter and ready to put to bed. One of the first things on the farm this fall to fully pack up. We're trenching around the farm to install automatic irrigation. We're making that improvement. Got a grant to set all of the overheads and drip around the gardens on a timer that we can set depending on the season and the weather, and keeps us from having to manually turn on and off all the irrigation around the farm. It's going to be a major improvement and make year 4 coming up next year that much easier on us.
So we're adding automatic irrigation to the farm, so that'll relieve a lot of not just hours of work, but also the time that work comes in. We can water early in the morning without having to wake up early in the morning to start watering and things like that. And while we're in here, we're trying to take advantage of already having dug up a lot of the existing irrigation to add control both through ball valves and additional water access points on the farm, so that way we can distribute water across the landscape, whether that's to animals or plants, more effectively. And also, if something goes wrong, we have more control and can shut things off. We're going for about 1.5 feet deep, which is around our frost-free zone here in North Carolina, which is great. Not nearly as deep as other places, but that's only for the main line, and then the auxiliary lines that go into the gardens and things like that will be up at just about a foot or 8 inches down.
So basically, we have dug trenches at the headers of each garden, and this one hasn't received it yet, but we're in the process of laying pipe and connecting them to these access boxes. And each pipe is going to get a run of electrical to hook it up to solenoids that will all feed to a timer that is connected to the electric box in the processing shed, so that we can set automatic timed irrigation for both overhead and drip around the farm. One of the processes of refining the farm that we're in is finding some of the critical points around that require a lot of our time and attention right now, and that would really be better off automated. Irrigation is so important in our setup to get good germination, good crop yields, adequate moisture, and the way we've been operating the last several years has worked, but it requires someone always being on top of irrigating, even when we're trying to embrace some downtime or the challenges of orienting off-farm schedules around irrigation windows. So both in terms of production and quality of life, automating the irrigation around the market gardens is going to be a huge improvement. Now, I've said this before in the context of automating the water for the poultry. I think that it can really be a good improvement, but automation in my mind isn't a set it and forget it type of thing. It still requires active management and awareness, because once you take yourself out of the manual equation, it's harder to notice if something goes wrong. So especially early on in figuring out the quirks and intricacies of our new automatic irrigation, we're going to be on it, monitoring, learning from the system so that we know exactly what to expect and can plan better around it. So this is the HQ of the automatic irrigation. We've got electric running, and at each one of these boxes we have a manifold. Some of this pipe is already installed, tying into existing water lines. And you can see this is running down to the tunnels. This setup is already finished and just needs to be retrenched or reburied, covering the trench up. We've made good progress excuse me, in the south gardens as well. And essentially each one of these undergrounds will connect straight to the above ground runs going along the gardens, and the solenoids will be triggered by the timer, turning it on and off whenever we schedule it. Asparagus strip looking pretty and whimsical. While we had the trencher, we also ran this extensive line that we're going to put pipe down so that we can get a hydrant out in far field, as we call it, the field over here that runs to the road. We found that it's a bit trickier than we want to keep the sheep having water when they're out in further parts of the farm. So putting a hydrant out there will allow us to run an above ground poly for more access, quick connect points around other parts of the farm besides Northfield. And we're in discussion about getting some cows to add to the group, so be that much more important to have very easeful water access all around the farm. That's it for today's video, showing the irrigation project and just some scenes from around the farm here in October. It's been a busy time, but I think that as we get towards the end of the month, it's going to wind down a bit and the slower winter season will be here before we know it, which is exciting. We've worked really hard this year in year 3 to refine our systems, make improvements, and continue to develop this project that is Wild East Farm. Thanks for watching another video, and we'll see you next time.